Hey there, friends. Amitav Melov here. I just wanted to make a little video talking about meditation. I uh, I stopped meditating for quite some time actually, and there's various reasons for that. But I wish I hadn't, and I just wanted to talk to you about how meditation really goes if you really put the effort into it, and this idea that a lot of people will say I can't meditate. My mind won't stop talking. And when people tell me that, I say, well, that's why you need to, because your mind won't stop talking. And it's the same with all of us. All our minds won't stop talking, but it can stop. It can at least slow right down, but it can stop too. It can definitely stop talking. And the thing about meditation is you can do a little bit, 10 or 15 minutes, and get some benefit. Um, the more benefit occurs when you meditate regularly every single day. Even better if it's twice a day. Even better if it's twice a day and little mini moments throughout the day, and constant awareness is very helpful. Um, but what happens is if you sit for a little bit longer, I would say minimum 30 minutes twice a day. Even better if you can sit, 45 minutes or an hour once or twice a day. The thing that starts to happen is, you get past that struggle. The mind is, it's thinking about things that happened in your day, people you met, people you saw, people you thought about, people who did things to you, things you said, regret, um, things people said to you that made you feel angry. Um, you might have thoughts about things that people should do, the sort of savior complex situation. But regardless, your thoughts, they're just going. There's a reason for that. It's because there's so much contact. And whenever there's contact, there's going to be a response from the mind. It's just how it works. So there are, 6 sense doors, the Buddha said. There are all the 5 regular normal senses, and there's the mind. So there's the 5 physical senses and the mind is considered a sense door as well. And so mind contact is a type of contact. There's nose contact from smells, that elicits a feeling and thoughts. There's touch contact, tactile content, that elicits feeling and thoughts. It could be mental or physical feelings, and it elicits thoughts. Memories is the mental contact. There's the memory of things that happened during your day, what people said, and also the physical sense doors. The 5 senses can be a trigger for thoughts as well, because the mind is just reacting to the body, perhaps. It feels pain, feels cold, feels hot, and then the mind has thoughts, feelings. It's always feeling and then a thought. And then the thought can create a feeling and create more thoughts. So with meditation, if you just stick with it a little bit longer, and don't go changing your subject of meditation, what I've been using recently is starting the meditation with some loving kindness, like feeling, just having the thought, may it be safe and happy, may it be peaceful, may it be filled with love, and then just feeling outwards into the front. May all beings to the front, may they all be happy, and trying to feel my body. It's like it's spreading out my energy in my body throughout all of time and space, to the front and to the left side, to the back, to the right, below, above, and then in all directions. You can do 2 directions, side to side and front and back, up and down together, and then all directions. And I don't spend too much time on it. I've been sitting for an hour, and an hour seems like a really long time. If an hour seems like a long time, try sitting for 2. An hour is a good amount of time. It's a worthwhile amount of time. And the thing that happens is you will find your mind. So I do loving kindness for a little bit, and then I switch to the breath, just to kind of like prime the mind. It's like just getting it flowing in a positive direction. The more positive feelings you have, it tips the mind in the right direction. Meditation creates joy, inner joy. This is what the Buddha told us. He said that the joy of Nibbana is the joy of the world is pleasure in the world is 1/16 of 1/16 of the pleasure of Nibbana, which is awakening, which is freedom from this thought stream, these patterns of thinking that, whether positive or negative, they're unconscious. They keep happening. You're not choosing them. They're coming up from previous thoughts, from previous study, from previous interactions. It's unconscious, and whether we like it or not, we have to admit that the thinking is just happening, and we're not choosing every thought, or not even close. Probably not even 1% of the thoughts that arise are chosen or conscious. They're just happening. Even if we've conditioned ourselves to believe that we're choosing, you can create a habit of thinking, a positive habit of thinking, and then it does its thing on unconsciously. That's the point. It doesn't stop. It's just happening on its own. So anything that's happening on its own is a form of becoming. And what happens is, in meditation, is you'll say your breath. So you're using your breath. I've been focusing just on the entrance of them. This is what you learn in Vipassana meditation in the retreats, is you do 3 days of just focusing on feeling the breath inside the nostrils and the area around the nostrils. And it's very hard to do. But what happens is, after a few days, maybe a few weeks of just daily meditation at home, it takes a few days of 10 hours a day in the meditation retreat to really start to sense your breath in a meaningful way. But it can happen at home too, and it might just take a little bit longer. It might take a few days, it might take a few weeks, it might take a few months before you really start to feel it, but trust that it will happen. And it's like, even if you're sitting in the dark, what will happen is, when you'll reach a point in your meditation where the thoughts start to really slow down, and then it's like the darkness becomes darker, and the sense doors, even if there's a little bit of light, even if you have your lights off, there's like maybe a light from a window coming in, or night light or something like that, or the light from your bathroom or whatever, little tiny bit, even that little amount, your eyes picking it up, and it's like you put a blackout curtain up, and things just get darker, and the thoughts become much, much less, quite rapidly. It's like you just draw. You're sitting on the edge of the pool. You might have it felt a little bit of peace here and there. Your legs are kind of dangling in the water, and then it's like you just all of a sudden just doop, and you just jumped all the way and you're totally wet. And then your experience is very different. It's very different. And this experience of your thoughts diminishing drastically, this is one of the most important experiences I think anybody can ever have in their lives, because we don't understand that there's something more than this daily type of awareness that we have, this type of consciousness that we have. We don't think that, we think that the thoughts are who we are, our beliefs are who we are. We think certainly the body and the feelings are ours. They're ours, they're mine, they're my thoughts, my truth, whatever. But what meditation shows us is that, hey, we can let those things go, because that's that's the method, is you have to let the other things go and come back to your one chosen object. But and be that not only can we try to let them go, but that once we do that for some time, that they will just dramatically diminish in a very significant way. And the type of awareness and consciousness that we have, it will dramatically change. And so all this suffering we have, whether it's known or unknown, I know people that have spent a lot of time reading spiritual things and thinking spiritual thoughts, and this too is a form of suffering. This too is unconscious, because whatever the Buddha talks about nutriment, and whatever we consume becomes our thoughts. And so it's conditioned. It's conditioned. And there is something known as the unconditioned, the unmanifest, I guess. And if we stick with meditation, if we really put the time in every day, fail every day, be willing to fail, because the thing is with meditation is people are not willing. They want instant results. And I would say a good kind of analogy for how to do this is like we all know how to scroll on our phones, right? And like, say you're looking at TikTok or YouTube or something, like, or Facebook, and let's imagine that meditation is like looking at choosing to go on TikTok, and you're not really closely looking at the stuff. You're just scrolling past. And then what happens is, in meditation, it's like you choose to look at one object. You get bored, and then you keep scrolling, you get bored. You sit there, you waste all your time. And that happens in meditation a lot. Your thoughts will take you away, and your feelings will take you away. Your wishes for others and for yourself will take you away. Your pain, your pleasure, your feeling like you have to help others, or all this unconscious stuff is taking you away. And that's like us, continuing to scroll. You can't stay with one thing. You're not going to pull up TikTok and just watch one video and keep watching it on repeat and repeat and repeat. You're just not going to do it. You're going to look at the next one. You're going to look at the next one. You're going to look at the next one. And so what happens with meditation is you sit down and your mind wants to look at the next thing and the next thing, and then this connected thing and then that connected thing, this pain, that coolness, that heat, that sound, whatever, that memory. And it won't stay. It won't stay. But eventually, you might find something interesting on TikTok and you watch the whole video, or maybe it's a YouTube video and you watch it for 10 minutes before going on to the next thing, and then you go on to the next thing. And meditation is kind of like that, you know what I mean? Eventually your mind will find the breath, and it'll stay with it for some time, and then eventually you lose the strength of that mindfulness, and it'll drift off, and then you'll watch your breath again after a while for a few minutes. And we have this ability to choose, to sit in meditation. We have the ability to choose to sit and scroll on your friggin' TikTok. Oh, yeah. And we also have the ability to stay, but it takes a decision, and it takes mindfulness and desire to stay with one thing before you can watch the whole thing. And so it's not a perfect analogy, but if you just take some time, ideally, the more time you take, the better. I really think, if you can spare an hour a day, man, it's so valuable. If you could spare it, it'd probably be better to do, I don't know what's better, two half-hour, probably 2.5 hour sits might be better than 1 hour. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Depends on your experience, but I really think it's worth it, I've wasted so much of my life on various pursuits and various non-pursuits. But one thing I will say is not a minute of meditation has ever been wasted, because even when your mind is traveling, that moment when you come back, that's like a rep. I need to do some more reps, obviously. I was doing a couple reps earlier. But what it is like a rep, and that muscle will get stronger. It might not get stronger right away, but at least you're going to notice it right away. And it's like when you work out and you get a sore, you do bicep curls and your arms hurt for a few days. That's like when you meditate and you notice how shitty you are at it. And then you'd be like, forget it. It would be like working out one time and feeling the pain, be like, forget it. I caused this pain. I'm not going to do this anymore. That's like what it is when people meditate, and then they feel the pain of not being able to do it, or not being able to stay, or feeling like their mind just won't stop talking. That's like giving up after one day of working out. And the truth is, that idea, that thought, that belief that my mind won't stop talking, my mind's crazy, it won't stop talking. Your mind's like this all the time. All our minds are like this all the time. And some people have a little bit more than others, but their minds are all about the same. We're all thinking about just different things. You know what I mean? Some people say, I have ADHD, I can't do this, blah, 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 bullshit. We all have restless minds. That's the truth. And they're restless in different ways. Some people are restless on negative things, and some people are restless on positive things. But they're restless. They're not resting. They're not able to stop. And so that's restlessness. And so if we just say, hey, I'm going to commit to this. There are wise people that have done this before me that have had tremendous success and ultimate peace. And I'm not saying we're going to have that right away, but the more we sit consistently every day, the greater the chance we are to be able to develop a skill of generating peace in our life. And there's so many reasons to be upset, so many reasons to be afraid, so many reasons to be sad, so many reasons to be happy, but all those things can be taken away. Anything that's connected with thought is impermanent. It's conditioned. So, we need to realize that there's something beyond thought, and that is, stillness, tranquility, equanimity. These things are not something that you can generate with thinking. You have to get beyond thinking, and then there's a deep, deep well of peace that's accessible for all of us, and to all of us. And I'm not trying to teach you. I just wanted to share this because I've recently really started my meditation practice again, and tonight I sat for an hour again, and I started to make progress again, real progress. I got to that where I started dropping. that thinking just dropped right off. Didn't go completely away, but I have been there before. I've gotten to some incredibly deep, peaceful places where thinking subsides for some length of time, and it's just beyond anything you can imagine. And maybe I'll get there again if I keep practicing. Maybe you will too if you start. And our lives are so short, so uncertain, and meditation is something that is a gift that we can give to ourselves. It's a true spiritual practice, and it does involve practice. Just like if you want to become good at anything, you have to practice, and meditation is just that way. But don't think that it's like I could never be, just like, could I ever be a great basketball player? Probably I could get better, but I could never be great. I will never be able to slam dunk a 10-foot net. It just will never happen. I'm too short, only 5'8". But everyone has a mind. Everyone's minds are pretty well equal, unless maybe you have like a real serious mental disorder, like a handicap or something like that. I'm like talking like a real mental deficit, like bad autism or something like that. Or anyways, anybody can do this. It's worth taking the time. Thanks for taking the time watching this video. Peace out.